Good morning. It's June 25th, 2012. This is David Plaza's Community Conversation Editor of the News Press. We are in the editorial board meeting, and we have the privilege of having with us Cecil Pendergrass, candidate for Lee County Commissioner, District 2. Before we begin, editorial board members, for the record, would you please introduce yourselves? Starting this side.
I'm Dick Kalfas, Cape Coral.
Good morning, Dick.
Pam Grotehouse, Bonita Springs.
I'm Luis Insignars from South Fort Myers.
Anna Sleek from Estero.
And Terry Everly from the News Press.
Mr. Pendergrass, tell us, why are you running for this position?
Oh, thank you, David. Thank you all for being here today, and thanks for having me here. First of all, I'm running for County Commission for several reasons. First of all, I don't think the Lee County Commission is going in the right direction right now. I think where the County Commission has been focusing more about the past and dealing with more personality conflicts than anything on the Commission in the last few years. Lee County has a lot of issues right now we need to move forward with. Some are the budgets, some is the everything as far as like open record laws. You know, why are we even discussing that? It's already in the statute. So things like that is why I want to bring to the County Commission is come to the County Commission and we work together and move forward. We need to look forward, not backwards. I think I bring a lot to the table due to my past experience in public safety, my experience of being a lifelong resident here in Lee County in District 2. I was born and raised right here in Lee County in District 2, went to school in District 2, worked in District 2, in public safety for 25 years, and still volunteer in public safety and other meetings and boards here in Lee County on District 2. And I feel like my position on the County Commission would give us more of a diverse commission so we can move forward and for the best of Lee County.
Okay. And this position itself is, it's a countywide position, obviously, unless the residents decide otherwise at some point in the future. What would be your measures of effectiveness at the end of your 4-year term if you're elected? That is, what would be 2 or 3 priorities that you'd like to get accomplished by that point?
Well, hopefully it's 4 years. Right now, the current position I'm running for is 2 years. My goal is to be a 2 years. I'm a perfectionist. I have high expectations of myself. I would expect the same of myself and the County Commission and that I serve with, along with the County Manager. Obviously, I have a lot of issues that I want to touch on. We economic development here in Lee County, fiscal responsibility, and tourism development. We need a long-term plan. We have to pay for a lot of debt for the next 30 years. We need to create a long-term tourism plan to bring people here in Lee County, and also protect the ecosystem here in Lee County. One of the things close to my heart here is in the 3396 zip code. I worked with obviously yourself in the past as a volunteer in the workshops here for this area. It's the area I grew up in, worked in for the last 30 years, and move forward with that, bring economic development here to this section of town to deter the crime.
Can we talk a little bit about the spring baseball? It's obviously important to this county, but going to the Minnesota Twins contract, the 30-year extension, and the board had no knowledge of, and they still have no knowledge of how much this is going to cost. How would you have handled that? Would you have voted for it, or what kind of issues? What do you want to know as a commissioner?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that. My problem with baseball, first of all, we don't really have baseball here. We have practice here. We need it. We need to bring all tools if possible.
You could look this way.
We need to bring all tools, use all tools possible to bring tourism here to Lee County. As far as the contract goes, I'm not sure why in the past we made these decisions of making, I think it's bad negotiations, Terry. When you go into a contract, and I've been in the past been a negotiator, and I'm still negotiating the last 4 months to buy a new Toyota, but I won't buy it until I get the price I want. You do not step in and take the first deal. I think too much has been put back on the taxpayers' back with all the ballparks. I have the numbers here for debt. We spent 20% of our tourist tax dollars to build a ballpark. We got to pay for it for the next 30 years. I was here when they built the Red Sox Stadium here in Central Fort Myers. I was there when they pulled people out of the houses to build a ballpark. I've seen what it's done to the community. I've seen what it's done around the community. In past March, your paper actually ran an article about that, about how it did not bring economic impact. It's actually declined the area. We have a vacant ballpark there. So on the Minnesota Twins, I would not vote for that unless I knew exactly, dollar to dollar, how much we would be paying, how much responsible we would be paying for the improvement of that stadium. I was shocked when I heard they would move forward with that. If you're going to do a 30-year extension deal with the Twins, it's a good deal. I'd like to know the whole contract, what's involved in it. Obviously, there's a lot involved with those contracts. You've got concessions, security, maintenance of those facilities. I think need more be put back on the back of the owners of the teams. Why is Lee County and the taxpayers liable to pay for the whole stadium? We don't get anything in return other than people coming here 14 days of the year.
Dick had a question?
Yeah, Mr. Pendergrass, good morning again.
Good morning, Dick.
There's been some conversation about balancing the budget. And the question is, should we dip into the reserves or should we review each position and make some adjustments? How do you feel about that?
Well, every year they do balance the budget, but what I found through looking at the county budget, going through line item by line, they balance the budget, and after they balance the budget, they come back this past year and spend another $55 million. Once you balance the budget, you don't keep adding costs to the budget. That's why we had to take $30 million out of the reserves this past year. I had those numbers going through the captors for the county manager to prove that. I do not agree with that. The reserves are there for a rainy day, not for just a balance and to maintain levels of service. At this rate, we're going to have around $34 million left in the reserves in about the year 2015. You know, we got to look at the big picture here. What happens if tomorrow there's another offshore oil and drill spill and we lose our tourism for 2 years? That's huge against Lee County. We want to have the economic impact to provide services here in Lee County. That's what the reserves should be for. But no, I do not agree with using the reserves to maintain levels of service. There's ways, and this is something I've talked about in other forums, is we have to look at each department line item by line item. And I'm not saying eliminate every job, but we have to go in there and look at jobs that we do not need to, or programs, for example, that we do not need to have.
Just a follow-up to that, how would you rate the job that the county manager is doing?
The last 4 years, they have reduced the budget. They are continuing to reduce the budget. They have reduced positions. I don't think there's always room for improvement. And my position is, I've worked with Karen Haas before, when she was in Human Services for Lee County, and have a great relationship with her and all her staff that's here in Lee County, and I would use them and give them direction. That's the main thing we have to focus here on. A lot of the county employees or department heads do not have direction. There's no plan. There's nobody really has a plan to do. And anybody that's an employee knows, if you have employees working for you, you've been employed, if you don't have a plan, a goal, there's no way you can move forward. And I think the county manager needs direction from the commission to say this is where we need to be at by the end of the year. But again, the county manager also has to deal with the commissioners, bringing it up throughout the year, through the budget year, bringing up new projects and improving it. And that's when we have, like this past year, $55 million extra added to the budget.
Where do you stand on the proposed health clinic for Lee County employees?
For the employees,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a savings to that, I know the sheriff's department is currently doing that now with the health care. If there's a savings to the county, that would say we should provide it. I think there's some concern with some of the employees, obviously, as far as privacy, as far as like some females may not want to go to the gynecologist that the county provides. So as long as they have an avenue, they can go outside that network to see the specialist, and I would have no problem with it. The main thing is as long as they provide services and there's a reduction in cost to the county. And there would be a reduction in cost to the county. For what I reviewed from other counties and cities who have done this before.
It's a huge upfront cost though, right? I mean, the investment to get it up and running would,
I don't know the exact numbers,
Yeah,
but I know that when the sheriff's fund did it, yes, it was upfront cost for that, for the 1,600 employees they have. For Lee County, I think it's 2,400 employees total. So yes, there's initial costs up front to do with the provider.
This isn't your first run for office, correct?
No, sir, I ran 2 years ago against Commissioner Bigelow for the same seat.
How has your message evolved, or what message are you taking to the voters that is different from when you ran 2 years ago?
More of a issue-driven campaign. And the issues are the three issues I already spoke about, is more or less the issues-driven.
What are the issues?
Is the fiscal responsibility, tourism development, economic development.
What's your position on diversifying the economy in Lake County away from the traditional sectors that have been relied upon in the past?
Well, we need to be looking more global. We need to be looking at high tech. Now, I'm not saying spend $10 million to create 100 jobs. We need to think for economic development should be looking at more bang for the buck, basically, sir. As far as we want to create jobs, through that, we need to look at high network. We have the international airport here. We have all the tools we need here to bring high tech jobs here. And that's something we have to work with the Economic Development Office to reach out and try to bring people from across the world here to do business here.
And
But
how-
also make it business friendly though. And my thing is with that was reduce the impact fees for 2 years for any new business coming in for like that.